I like to talk about the philosophy of fishing, the Zen of fishing, if you would like. Because it may seem like an odd thing for a fisherman to throw out a bait, catch a fish and then put it back again. Or not put it back, as the case may be. That wouldn't be so odd, would it? But there's a lot in fishing, for me, which is also concurrent in life as well. To me, fishing is life in its essence, because if you want to do well and you want to catch a fish, first of all, you need to have some knowledge of the area. You need to know how the river lies, what the depths are in the river, what the temperature and the sun is doing to the river on that particular day. What kind of fish are there and what do they like to eat? So all that research and knowledge needs to be put in place before. In other words, the groundwork needs to be done before you're going to catch a fish. Now, you might get lucky and just go to a river or a lake or in the sea, chuck something out and catch something. You might be lucky that way, but if you want to predict that you're going to catch a fish or a few fish, then that groundwork is essential. You need to have got your spade out and dug the ground, as it were. If you're going to create some plants in your garden, first of all, the very first thing you need to do is what's the lie of the land? Are there weeds in there? Are there rocks in there? Is there barbed wire? And you need to make that soil fertile and that ground fertile so that when you do plant the seeds, it can grow. So the knowledge, the research, the groundwork needs to be done before anything else happens. Before you cast the rod and your line into the water, that research has to be done. And then once you've done that, there is an element of waiting, patience, trust, and knowing that you've done the right thing. So my saying it about that preparation is, once you've prepared the soil, once you've planted the seed, which is probably already done before you even prepare the soil, once you've watered the seed, the rest of it is not our business. So there is that saying about, I call them the the gods of fish, if you like. If the gods of fish are smiling on you, then you're going to catch a fish. But also my joke about the fishing is that one of the tribe, one of the shoal of the fish, will sacrifice themselves every now and again for the fishermen, because they want to be fed. Because here at this place I'm at right now, they've had a lot of good food. They've had loads of sweet corn, protein baits, bread and breadcrumb, all sorts of lovely things they've had over a period of days. And they know that if I don't catch anything, then I'm not going to come back again, or I'm not going to fish again. They don't get any food. So every now and again they'll say, Joe, hey Joe, your turn today, Joe. Go and put yourself on that guy's line and let him catch you, because then we'll get some more food. So that's the kind of joke that I have. But as well, saying that, well, that one wants to speak, doesn't it? Saying that, I'd say there's some truth in the relationship that we have with ourselves and fish, or let's say animals and beings of the planet. Now, the fish don't have to give themselves to one of us. They don't have to do that. There could be a way where they absolutely predict what's going to happen and don't do it. You may say that's a little abstract. Well, yeah, it is a bit abstract. But all the fish and the animals, they have a group spirit, so they kind of can all tap in to that matrix, if you like, and communicate with each other on a group level over a period of time. And they can decide not to do things with us and not to have any relationship with us. And in essence, they can have the ultimate sacrifice and just die if they want to. They don't want any relationship with what we're doing with them. And that has happened in the past. In England, for instance, we had that thing called the mad cow disease, where hundreds of herds of cattle had to be slaughtered because they got that thing called the mad cow disease. Now they put that down to what they've been fed. They've been fed the wrong food and all those kind of things. And that might be true, that they have been fed the wrong food, but ultimately they've been mistreated. And they've not been mistreated just once, but over a period of time, the animals have been mistreated. Now, if animals get mistreated for a period of time, they know what's happening at the very unconscious level, at the group spirit level. They can just decide to opt out of what's happening, which they may well do in the future as well if we keep treating them as badly as we seem to be doing with steroids and vaccines and all sorts of things just to keep them alive for us, only for our benefit. And I say with animals, what we have to do now and into the future is give them a chance to develop in any way that they can as well. Now, we don't know what that development might mean, but a space for their development, which will take obviously a lot of care and attention about them. And I don't just mean for a moralistic, very material purpose. I mean that they can develop and evolve, in fact, whatever that evolution might be. And as I say, if we don't do that, they can opt out. I mean, whole barnfuls of chickens have just died in the past. Just all of them die. Now you can say, well, the temperature was this or the temperature was that or whatever. But on a group level, they can decide we're not going to do this anymore. Now the deal is, because some of you might say, well, fishing is cruel or eating animals is cruel. Some of you may say that, and I can get that. I can agree with you on a level with that one. Yet if we don't eat animals and we don't eat fish, there will be no purpose for the animals and the fish. Now, I think sometimes vegetarians forget about that. But what is going to happen to the animals if we're not interacting with them in some way which is very meaningful? At the moment, the meaningful relationship is we eat them. But that means that we do take care of them to a degree. We keep them safe. We don't allow them to get trench foot or whatever the animal equivalent is for that. We keep them safe from wolves and foxes and all those kind of things. They get fed by us. They can have babies, procreate. All of those things that can happen with the relationship between the human and the animal. And that's a really good thing. And if that wasn't there, if that relationship wasn't there, or the fisherman with the fish or eating the fish, then they probably wouldn't get taken care of at all. And they would just simply die out as a race. But saying that as well, I totally agree with vegetarians that animals are being treated badly, and a whole revolution needs to take place in how we relate our relationship to how we eat animals, what animals we eat, and how we treat them before we eat them as well. And that development will cause the relationship to grow and develop in such a way that these creatures can develop with us. And in the future we might not kill them, but it won't be from a moralistic point of view. It will be because the relationship has developed in another way. There's a new relationship we have with animals, and they supply us with something else which is maybe more important than we even know right now. We don't know. Same for the vegetation and the trees. There's so much we don't know about the vegetation and the trees and the rainforests which are in there for us, and yet we still don't know what that is. It's out there. Lots of species which haven't been distinguished yet, plant forms that haven't yet been discovered and noted what they can do. All those things are possible if we can start to take care of that relationship we have with the outside world. Right, it's possible it's time to do a little bit of fishing. And in terms of, when we talk about business, when I talk about business and being in business, it's a very similar thing to fishing, where you have an idea and you throw it out there, you do some preparation, you throw the idea out there, and then you see what comes back. So you always start with the future. I mean, in esoteric, the more esoteric way of thinking about it, the future is the first thing that happens. We start with the future. In fact, when you're born, you already have a future in front of you. You start with that. And then the next part about it is seeing if you can, no, I didn't like that, see if you can manifest the future that's already out there, which is an interesting way of thinking. See, I knew that was tangled. So when you fish, of course you have an idea before you go out, but you chuck the future out there and then you reel it back into you. When I'm working with clients these days, I rarely ever do goal setting anymore, because I believe that people already have the future inside of them. My belief system says, and I have as little beliefs as possible, but the little that I have say that when you're born, the seed is already there. It's like a seed that drops off a tree. Everything's already inside that seed before it does anything towards its future. Its future was already there as soon as it was born. So if that's true about that kind of life, how come that's not true about this kind of life? Where our seed came from somewhere, developed, we were born, we came in with some challenges, and now we're busy working back towards the future that we know is out there. I mean, it's such a beautiful setting, this. I'm very lucky to have found it. In fact, a friend found it for me. It's still fairly early in the morning. One of my favourite times is early in the morning and late at night. Dusk and dawn. Things are still waking up. You see so many things that you wouldn't see normally. And once you're here for a little while, everything around you seems to accept you and start working with you. The dragonflies come and sit on the rod. Sometimes they come even sit on you. The fish and the birds, if you're quiet enough, start acting absolutely normally around you. And you see how they are in their habitat. I think I need to put my camera hat on. You see the swallows just flying over. They come out last thing at night, first thing in the morning, just to pick off some insects which are flying around close to the surface of the water. So what we're probably going to catch is a carp, either a common or a mirror carp. I mean, there are catfish here as well, but I mean, I've geared myself to catch the carp, so it's probably going to be that. But fishing is quite a nice metaphor, because it is a metaphor of life and business and vision, really. Because it's the same. Whoops. Hello. Interrupted my conversation there. It's a small carp. I can tell by that, by the way it pulls. It's a very small carp. I think it was born last year, or not very long ago. So yeah, so this one's been sacrificed. Oh, it's a beautiful little mirror. I'm so pleased to catch this one actually and show you. These are beautiful little fish. So they know the score, the fish know the score. They know it's catch and release. They know they're going to get put back. And they know they get really well fed by me as well. You know, these guys have had a few kilograms of sweet corn. They've had some lovely breadcrumbs, some protein baits, some protein, lots of protein. And there we are. So this one, let's call him Fred, has been singled out by the rest of them to come in and make an appearance. Oops, let me get... Well, I want to show you this one. Come on, Fred. I don't want you on the rocks. Come off the rocks. Yes, it's okay. You're in good hands. Now look at this. There's barbless hooks as well. Look, watch this. See how that drops out? Look at the mouth. Tiny pinprick. There's a tiny pinprick in the mouth, that's all. And look at this. What a beautiful fellow, a mirror carp, gorgeous. Fred, and Fred goes back and he says, look, I've done it now. I did my job. I've done my job. And he gets some points. He gets some carp loyalty points for that. They can use for travelling with, yeah, up and down the river, because there's toll gates for the fish up and down the river. So Fred gets his loyalty points there. Very good, Fred. Anyway, we might catch one a little bit bigger. Let's have a look.